Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your boy Nolan Hawkeye Anthony here. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday wherever you may be and however you may be listening. The Iowa Hawkeyes improve to 4-0 on the season. They have beaten, even though today was not a beautiful victory, they have beaten every team by there. You guys can see my Bumble profile for a little bit. They have beaten every team by double digits this year. And they have now won 5 straight. Sorry about that person's Facebook story in the background. I can't help that. It's either 9 in a row or 10 in a row. I don't know for sure. I believe it is 9 in a row since they won 6 in a row last year. And now that's 10 in a row because they are 4-0 this season. Bottom line is, guys, this was an ugly win, but it was a much needed win for Iowa. Sometimes it's ugly, guys. Sometimes it's ugly. And it is what it is. As I've been saying in my response to a lot of the top media people's responses to the Iowa Hawkeyes, I would ask anybody who's played at a certain level, okay, which includes myself, I would always rather win ugly than win beautifully any day of the week. Winning beautifully counts for nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And it was not pretty, but at least we know Iowa can face adversity and find a way to come out on top. And that, to me, is a big deal. I know some of you guys are going to say that it's not that big of a deal, but it is. You have to be able to find a way to win in the toughest of ways. You have to find a way to win even when your back is against the wall. That's just the fact of life. In fact, winning when your back is against the wall shows me more than beating a team by 40 points. So it's all. I'm going to get to your guys' comments in a second. I'm just sharing this out. I'm getting more people in here. If you guys can share this out, that would be great. Be sure to subscribe. Last week we were at 200 subs, and now we are at what are we at here? We are at about 250. If we could get to 250 at the end of this video, that would be fantastic. What I always say is all the other reaction videos that you get from, Chad Leistico and, these other guys, I don't know where they went to school, but they're not Iowa fans like you and me are. They don't eat, breathe, and sleep Iowa football like you and me do. And as you guys saw, when the allegations were being put against Iowa, they will do anything to get as many clicks on their websites, and it does not matter. Whereas I would never sell my soul like that. But if you don't think that I've earned your subscription, at least comment, at least like, and share this out. Share it with your friends. I'm trying to create an Iowa Hawkeye YouTube community. As far as I'm aware, there is not one that currently exists. And so because of that, I really am trying to get this locked and loaded for you guys. to come and hang out and have an excellent time. The one thing I want to say right off the bat is with regards to Spencer Petras, and I want you guys to specifically comment on how you think Spencer Petras played today. My initial, and I have not rewatched the game yet, but my initial feeling is that he did not play that bad. I continue to hold the belief that Iowa's wide receiver group is in more trouble than the Iowa quarterback group is. And that's not me saying that the Iowa wide receiver group is going to be terrible all season. That's not what I'm saying. But I just don't believe that a majority of the onus goes on Spencer Petras. I ultimately think that there is plenty of blame to go around. Today, Tyler Goodson was playing around too much in the backfield, dancing too much. You know, the difference between college football and the NFL is the guys in the NFL know to take the yards that they get. They don't dance around. They get the yards that they get with forward progress, and that's it, because they know that the speed of the game is so fast that what they get is what they get. That's that. And sometimes I wish Tyler Goodson would just get those 1-2 yards that are in front of him, as opposed to constantly dancing and dancing and dancing in the background. I'm going to go to your guys' comments here in a second. I just want to put up the stats. Spencer Petras, 15 of 23, 224 yards, two tubs. I said that Spencer Petras, if you guys were here for the post game, you guys know I said Spencer Petras was going to have 2 tubs. I was correct on that. Tyler Goodson, 57 yards, 3.2 yards per carry. Iowa really did not go to their backups in the run game. Keegan Johnson, 2 receptions for 92 yards and a tub. Sam Laporta, 4 receptions for 45 yards and a tub, and an unsportsmanlike conduct. How about that? Nico Reganey, a.k.a. Nico Raggiani, 38 yards. Tyler Goodson, 34 yards. And that is about it. Let's look at the team stats here. Total yards, Iowa 280, Colorado State 250. Iowa won the battle of the passing yards, whereas Colorado State won the battle of the rushing game. Yards per play, Iowa 5.2, Colorado State 3.2. And by the way, guys, I will be taking a look at the rest of the Big Ten as well, and we can talk about that. First downs, Iowa 12, Colorado State 12. Iowa was 4 of 13 on third down. Not good. That needs to improve. Whereas Colorado State was about 50%, 11 of 23. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to the comments now. Let's go to the comments. This game feels like a loss. Joseph Walters. I'm going to need you to explain that to me, Joseph, because in my eyes, a win is a win. That's the most Iowa from CJ Smith. That's the most Iowa win so far this season. I'll take it. Defense came up big. That they did. The defense, you could see the energy from them in the second half. They got the fumble recovery, and they nearly got the safety. They really brought the energy. They almost got a couple of interceptions, but it is good to know that Iowa can win on the backs of only one takeaway from the defense. They should move us out of the top 10. I totally disagree with that. Again, Iowa is 4-0 with double-digit victories over all of their opponents. Now, I know that the last 2 weeks seem a lot closer than they were a lot closer than they seem. But ultimately, guys, taking a look at the scoreboard, Iowa has posted double-digit victories in all of their games. Michael Morin, I'm very happy to win, but there's a lot to fix before we get to Penn State. True. I agree with that. I want you guys to comment your grade of Spencer Petras. Let's get a little dicey this afternoon. Let's get a little dicey. Joseph Walters, he did not play good enough. O-line wasn't good enough. We need better blocking and better play calling or game plan. Probably, but from what I saw, you know, at the end of the day, the play calling, all Brian Ferentz can do is call the plays. He can't get out there and run every play for every player. At some point, you need to hold the players on the field accountable for what they do. And there was a lot of mistakes from every player on the offense, whether it was missed assignments in blocking, whether it was not getting forward progress with the yards. There were a lot of things that I would rather put the onus of the on the players than I'm going to put all, as opposed to putting all the blame on Brian Ferentz. Need to get Keegan the ball more. Joseph Walters, need to get Keegan the ball more if the veteran group can't get it done. I agree. I said before the game that I thought that the Iowa offense was going to go at it more collectively as a unit, as opposed to what we've seen in the past couple of years, with it primarily being Amir Smith-Marset and Brandon Smith. And if you ask me, okay, well, anyways, I think Iowa is going to have to take a damn hard look at putting Keegan Johnson in there over either Tyrone Tracy or Nico Reganey. I'm not sure who. I mean, to be honest, Nico and Tyrone have been very average this season. You could make the case that on the interception, perhaps Tyrone Tracy could have got a mitt in there and pulled it away. I mean, Tyler Goodson was able to hustle his butt off and come back from yards away to make sure that he stopped the interception from being a pick six. And I'm not taking any blame away from Spencer Petras. He should have thrown that ball away. But I'm just not very high on Iowa's two starting wide receivers. I had a lot of hope for them at the beginning of the season, but right now they are playing very, very average. And as I keep saying, ultimately, the difference between an average wide receiver and elite wide receiver is an elite wide receiver helps his quarterback out. And I'm not sure we've been seeing that from Iowa's wide receivers. Anthony Jungers, good for offense to work on progression last two games. Need to get better quick if we are going to compete with Penn State, let alone Maryland next week. I'm not as concerned about Maryland as I am with Penn State. I do agree, Anthony, with much of your statement. But the issues that Iowa has are much more fixable than the issues that other teams have. If the only issues that Iowa has is being more consistent and more efficient offensively, that should be able to happen. It's not as though Iowa has some major hole on their defense. And as we know, defense travels. So wherever Iowa goes, they will have a top 5 defense in the entire country to back them up. They have an elite special teams unit, both kick return, punt return, kickoffs, kicking field goals, punting the football. And that is all good. So I still hold to my optimism that this Iowa team should be able, and it is much more fixable, the issues that Iowa has. But generally, Mike, I do agree. Or excuse me, Anthony. Joseph Walters, better touch on those deep balls, and I would give Petras an A. I think the O-line is holding the offense back, which I don't know if it's all young guys or if it's the new coach. I'm going to pull up Pro Football Focus for you guys. As you guys know, the other websites make you guys pay for Pro Football Focus, but your boy Nolan will not make you guys pay. And I just want to give you guys some clarity to the offensive line and where Iowa's issues are on the offensive line, okay? And it is kind of astounding. I really did not – what's going on here? I really did not expect it to be what it was. And obviously, if you don't trust Pro Football Focus, that's fine. What's going on here? But I tend to trust much of the stats. So here's the center grade. Okay, on the screen, Tyler Linderbaum is ranked as the number 2 center in all of college football. Okay, right there. Guards. Iowa has 3 top 25 guards in the entire country. Connor Colby is number 6. Justin Britt is number 10. And Cody Ince is number 16. Iowa's issues are at the tackle position, okay? Their highest graded tackle is outside of the top 50. I think it might even be outside the top 100, honestly. I mean, look, yeah, it's outside the top 100. I mean, we're going all the way to 150 here. Here we go. Let's keep it rolling. Iowa's highest graded tackle is Nick DeJong, not DeJong. I was saying DeJong. It's DeJong at 135, okay? And Mason Reichman is 160. So that's what it is, guys. It is not the interior of the offensive line as much as it is the outside. Some big games this week, guys. And by the way, I do agree. I would give Spencer a B+. The interception was not good, but overall, I mean, he dimed out Keegan Johnson on 2 of his deep passes. Dimed him out. I mean, it was a dime on both of them. I mean, we know how hard it was for Nate Stanley to complete one of those passes in multiple games. The interception was not good, but I could almost give that as much blame to the blocking and Tyrone Tracy as I could give to Spencer Petras on that. So anyways, Minnesota loses to Bowling Green 14-10. Notre Dame thwomps Wisconsin. Your boy was correct again. I told you guys at the beginning of the season, Wisconsin was not as good as they were being ranked. Much of the reason people were so high on Wisconsin was because of all the injuries they suffered last year. But the bottom line is, if Iowa suffered those same injuries, we would all expect them to still win for the most part. And so I just held the same accountability to Wisconsin. And outside of Graham Mertz's first game in which he had no tape, and let me tell you guys, having tape on your game is a huge difference between not having it, okay? My first 4 games of college water polo were much different than any of the rest of the games because, I mean, it's the obvious. People can look at your tendencies and they can study it, and they know what you're going to do even better than you know what you're going to do. So outside of that first game, for Graham Mertz, he's been very average, if not below average. He had 4 interceptions today. Iowa gets the win over Colorado State. Northwestern beats Ohio, improves to 2-2. Michigan beats Rutgers by 7 points, as you guys can see over here. Maryland beat Kent State by about the same score Iowa did. And Purdue beat Illinois. Illinois moves to 1-4. Perhaps Iowa can steal back some of the recruits, 2 of the recruits that they ultimately lost to Illinois, although I'm not super positive about that. But you never know. I will say, as a recruit, it is hard to see the school that you are committed to continue to lose and lose and lose. All right, let's go back to the comments here. We got 13 up in here. The biggest that we had in here was Iowa versus Iowa State. We had about 30. Petrus gets a B minus. This is from, let's start up here. Yes, it's a win, but we should have blown them out. Too many missed opportunities. Agreed. First 2 games made us feel like we were on top. 10 last 2 games, definitely not. And offense still not getting better. The offense is not getting better in sizable gaps, but there are certain things that are improving, okay? Such as Iowa appearing to have a deep threat and connecting on the deep threat. In my opinion, the biggest issues with this Iowa offense are the plays that set them back, whether it's a wide open pass that results in an incompletion, whether it's a drop or a bad throw, whether it's a flag, whether it is Tyler Goodson not just chugging forward for the 2 yards that are there as opposed to dancing all over the place and doing his spin. I remember my college coach used to always scream at us, take what is given to you. Take what is given to you. It's not high school, okay? Everybody is too fast. They're too strong. They're too fast. You're not going to do it. Sometimes you might be able to, but for the most part, you won't. Whether it is Brian Ferentz calling some, if the ball is on the left hash mark and he decides to pass it all the way to the right side of the field for a gain of 2 yards, whatever it is, Iowa's offense is too choppy. But there are some things that appear to be opening up. And as soon as Iowa becomes less choppy, I am very confident it will be all right. Petrus gets a B minus, I guess. Seemed like we just never got our mojo on offense. I would agree with that. Anthony Youngers, Petrus getting more comfortable now. Few mistakes on his part, 7 of 10. 7 out of 10. We need a Swiss Army knife wide receiver like we had with Amir Smith-Marset. I agree with that. And perhaps Keegan Johnson is that guy. I thought Tyrone Tracy was that guy. But man, Tyrone Tracy has been a disappointment this season. Same with Nico Reganey, to be honest. Both of them have been major disappointments 4 games into the season. Better touch on the deep throws, and I could give Petrus an A. I think the O-line is holding on the offense back, but I don't know if it's all the young guys. I wouldn't agree with the Campbell ranking, so I guess I don't like any of them. Then he played really well again. I wish Wisconsin would have won. We need strength of schedule to help us post-season, and the West looks weak this year. Maybe. Generally, I agree with that. Generally, I want the teams on my schedule to win so that when we beat them, it looks better. Or if we lose, it looks okay. But because of the 2 victories Iowa had at the beginning of the season and the general consensus of this Iowa team, if they can largely go unscathed for the rest of the season, they should be A-okay. We need the tight end that went to Auburn and Hunter Dale who went to Iowa State. Our running game needs to improve. Adrian Martinez down on the turf in East Lansing. Who knows? Maybe that will actually help out Nebraska. I never want a guy to be hurt, but sometimes, it makes a decision easier for coaches. Let's take a look at Iowa State real quick. I'm pretty sure they lost to Baylor. I got to be honest, guys. That's probably worse than Wisconsin losing is Iowa State losing to Baylor and going down to 2-2, because right now Iowa's 2 victories at the beginning of the season against Indiana and Iowa State do not look as good now as they did look back then. Now they look very average. And I just hope that I am not over giving Iowa an over amount of credit, because there are holes with this Iowa team. But ultimately, I am very confident about how strong they are on defense, special teams, and I do believe they will get back on track with their offense. But it is possible that I am overvaluing this Iowa team, especially with Iowa State now 2-2. And let's see what Indiana is. Let's take a look. I need to hire someone who can just they are 1-2. They should move to 2-2 after this win. I need to hire someone who can just click on all the things that I have. Anyways, guys, let's wrap this up. At the end of the day, a win is a win. And I'm not going to overanalyze Iowa's struggles today. For me, I tend to look at Iowa's ability to still win by 10 points after playing terribly and having their backs against the wall as a positive sign. It's, in my eyes, it's more positive than negative because it's not easy, guys, when your fans are booing you and you are down by 7 at halftime and you end up winning that game by double digits and you played terribly. I tend to look at that more positively than I look at it negatively. This Iowa team ultimately knows how to win football games, but I will not say that I am not slightly concerned about the progress of this Iowa offense. It needs to move forward with a quickness. With the quickness, it needs to move forward. If it does not, who knows? Penn State, whoever could. What the biggest question mark is, what is going to happen when Iowa's defense struggles? Will Iowa's offense be able to hang with that team? And right now, I'm not sure that the answer is yes. However, with that in mind, Iowa is 4-0. They are number 5 in the country with 2 wins over Power 5 teams, and they have beaten all of their teams by double digits. So I'm not going to get overly concerned, but things need to change with the quickness. And for me, it is the running game above all else that needs to get back on track for this Iowa team. Let's take one more look at the stats here. Who you guys taking in the Michigan State game this afternoon? That is a pretty big game, in my opinion. Nebraska's game and Michigan State's game are both 2 very important games this afternoon. I'm going to pull that up really quickly. Let's look one more time at the scores in the Big Ten, and then we shall get up out of here. Good win for Michigan. That's a good win. They might be ahead of Ohio State. I don't know for sure yet. Man, Wisconsin got absolutely bludgeoned by Notre Dame. Wow. Minnesota is in trouble. And let's see what else we have here. Nebraska. I thought the 0-0 for Nebraska versus Michigan State. All right, guys. That should about do it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me as always. I really do hope that you guys consider subscribing. It means a ton when you guys do that. Like I have already said, there's no one else who does this. And ultimately, the individuals in the Iowa media are not Iowa fans like you and me are. And it is what it is. So, but if you don't want to subscribe, I hope you guys consider at the very least commenting, sharing. I just want to build a community of Iowa Hawkeye fans that we can come together on Saturdays, game and pregame, and have a good time. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out. And DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts or feelings, your feelings don't matter. Iowa improves to 4-0. I believe they will stay in the top 6 in the country. They might move back one spot, but I do believe they will stay in the top 6 in the AP poll. We'll see what happens in the coach poll. But for the most part, everything is copacetic. It's better for Iowa to be 4-0 going into Big Ten play than having a loss. So it's all copacetic on my end. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time.